Hello and welcome to the Gooner Talk, back again with you guys for another episode of the Arsenal Transfer Show, joining you live from the TGT Stadium every morning at 8 a.m. UK time. Hope you're doing good. Hope you're doing well. Thank you so much for joining me. Apologies, there might be a couple of connectivity issues this morning. There's some work being done around ours, so apologies for that. Hopefully it does kind of sort itself out, but you may see a little bit of fuzz on the screen, if not a lot of fuzz on the screen regarding me, so apologies, the camera is not up to as good a scratch as it can be. But good morning to everybody. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you so much for making this part of your morning routines, as always. The show's going to be slightly different today. We're going to go through all of today's news stories, as we usually do. And then the second half of today's show is going to have a slight difference to that. And I'm going to talk about that after the first part of today's show. Let's say good morning to everybody joining us in the chat box. Hope you're doing good and well. Nikolai, good morning to you. To Temi, to Tulip, to Abdullahi. Kareda, good morning to you. Jashar, Abdullahi, good morning to you. Carl, Stephen, good morning, guys. King and Manu. Jose and AFC West Mids, and Sam, good morning to everybody else as well joining us too. Thank you so much for coming into the channel today. Yes, I'm sorry that this is awful. The connection is terrible. We're having some work done, as I say, around this area. Hopefully you can see the screen though just fine. So I'm probably going to keep this on with me in the little corner more than I usually do. But yeah, do make sure you go and check out Football Prizes. There's no current Arsenal one live as of yet because you've sold them all out. You've done brilliantly well to do that. So thank you for continuing to sell out Football Prizes. It's been an amazing bit of work that's gone on from you guys in the chat box, helping support the channel with that. So once again, a massive thank you. But yeah, the link in the description, as always. Go check out the rest of their prizes. Whilst there isn't an Arsenal one currently on the go, I'll bring you news of any new ones that do indeed pop up. The Arsenal Way, of course, will be live at 10 a.m. as always, so make sure you're subscribed and checking our show out in the mornings at 10 a.m. And also, as always, we're going for the best club content creator in the Premier League at the Football Content Awards. Information on how to vote is on the screen. Just go to votefortgt.com and it will create a tweet for you in which you can tweet out. Now, we kick off with some excellent news regarding results over the weekend. Chelsea lost to Leeds quite dramatically, which was absolutely fantastic to see. And Manchester City dropped points to Newcastle. Amazing how I can talk about Manchester City in the context of Arsenal right now. That's I don't know how long I'm going to be able to do that, but whilst I can do that, I am going to do it. And if Liverpool do drop points tonight, absolutely will I also be covering that in tomorrow morning's show. But Arsenal sit top of the table, the only team with a perfect record in the English top flight. Really strong start to the season. Great results going for Arsenal elsewhere as well. And I look forward to, fingers crossed, seeing that continue into the new campaign as well. Now, Hector Bellerin is looking more likely now, it seems, to join Barcelona over any other side. The Spanish international has now pretty much closed the door on a potential move to Real Betis. Real Betis, as we know, have been linked with him for some time, but if they have no intention of giving Arsenal a fee, Arsenal have no intention of allowing him to leave for there. That said, Barcelona, according to Gerard Moreno, have indeed kind of made their interest in the player known. He supposedly and his representatives also made their interest in a potential move there known. He could indeed move in that kind of direction. So looking forward to seeing how this one ends, and hopefully it does end very soon. Nicolas Pepe, as we know, is very close to joining Nice on loan. This is something we can probably expect a solution on, or a resolution on, this week, and an announcement will be expected to take place. So keep your eyes peeled for Nico Pepe and his loan exit from Arsenal to Nice. According to Sasha Taglieri, Arsenal fans could potentially expect a bid from Arsenal within the next week or two for Youri Tielemans. He is on the list of players that Arsenal have always had for a central midfielder. Sasha also talked about Paqueta potentially being the main priority target, but that there is an expectation a bid will be made for Tielemans in the next coming weeks. So be prepared to see that. Arsenal are also potentially targeting Nicolas Mudryk, who is a Ukrainian winger. And according to, I believe it was Foot Mercato Marseille, they reported this, or Media Foot Marseille, I think it was, They reported this story over the weekend, and he is on a list of wingers, including the likes of Yeremy Pino and Cody Gakpo, it is said, for Arsenal's wide position. However, I was planning on doing a tactical breakdown on Mudryk, and I probably will still do that either today or tomorrow. However, I'm sure a lot of you have already seen the news that broke this morning, courtesy of David Ornstein, who I'm very, very thankful decided to post this story just before 8 a.m. Could have done it a little bit later, David, and it would have ruined the show. So thank you, David. Much appreciate that. But Arsenal are said to be in talks with Pedro Neto of Wolves to try and agree a deal for the Portuguese international. I will read you the report by David Ornstein. He says, after securing Gabriel Jesus, Zinchenko, Vieira and Marquinhos, it's unlikely that Arsenal will be able to spend extortionately, and they are conscious of financial fair play limitations. The top target at present is Pedro Neto of Wolves, The Athletic has learned. Talks are said to have been taking place for more than a month, and central to the dialogue is the intermediary George Mendes, who represents Neto and is closely linked to operations at Wolves. Conversations so far have involved Mendes liaising with Arsenal and Wolves separately, while the interest from the Emirates Stadium is concrete and unanimous. Their counterparts do not plan to sell the 22-year-old this summer. Neto extended his contract in March, committing him until 2027. It is unclear what level of finance it might take for Wolves to contemplate letting one of their key men depart. However, discussions are ongoing as Arsenal explore whether a deal could be achievable. Previously in the window, suitors for Neto were led to believe that he was unavailable or felt the Portugal international would be too costly. But the arrival of Gonçalo Guedes and Matheus Nunes into coach Bruno Lage's attack may be interpreted by admirers as creating an opportunity or an opening for Neto. Amazing news, really. I'm not hopeful that this is a deal that Arsenal can get done, really. I'm not really optimistic about this as being a potential one Arsenal can get done, because the finances are just so big, in my view, for Neto. If it is doable, though, Arsenal should absolutely be going to try and do this. I will endeavour to bring you a tactical breakdown. This is obviously very fresh news that has broken this morning, but I will endeavour to try and bring you a tactical breakdown on him as soon as feasibly possible, potentially tonight, potentially tomorrow. Let's wait and see. Let's see how quickly we can try and get all of this news together. But really strong news about this. I will take some quick reactions from the chat box, considering the second half of today's show is going to be slightly different today. Kian says Neto and Tielemans would round the squad off nicely. Peter, though, says he's far too expensive. Dave says he's absolutely rapid. He is indeed. Sam says, Tom, is he very quick, or is it just the league that he's in? No, he's very, very quick. He's very, very strong. A great option as well. Stephen says Clive rates Mudryk very highly as well. And yes, he's very appreciated. He's very well liked. If Arsenal can get hold of Pedro Neto this summer, it'll be quite an incredible piece of acquisition by the club to do. But the finances will be very expensive, and it should be said that Mudryk will cost significantly less than what Neto would. Only around 20 to 25 million euros is said to be the price of Mudryk, but I imagine that Neto is going to cost you 50 odd million quid minimum, probably somewhere around that, I'd imagine, potentially even more. But great news to see that Arsenal really are pushing for these top talented players in world football. And that's the way in which Arsenal have wanted to move in the market as well. So really impressed by the fact that Arsenal are trying to even do deals of this caliber. It's a really solid kind of move for Arsenal to be in. As I said, do vote for us in the FCA. Do vote at www.votefortgt.com. But most importantly, after this quick break, I'm going to talk to you about my friend and your friend, and I'm sure plenty of others in the Discord server as well, Vinny Eagle. Now, you probably noticed that I've not been in my perkiest of moods this morning, despite a lot of really strong news coming through. We're not going to be doing the usual Q&A session this afternoon or this morning in the second half of today's show, so apologies for that. But to be honest, I very much struggled to even do this show this morning. The reason why I did the show, and it's very much thanks to a message from Owen, who of course you all know, saying, if I don't do the show this morning, a certain someone would be very annoyed with me that I didn't do the 8 a.m. show. So it was only right that I did. I'm going to struggle through this. I'm going to be very honest with you. But I unfortunately have got some very sad news to tell you, and that's that our very good friend, very long-serving member and long-time listener of the show, Vinny Eagle, sadly did lose his battle with cancer, and it was made aware to me yesterday that that he did unfortunately pass away. And I'm very, very sad that I have to be the bearer of bad news for a lot of you. Vinny was an amazing guy, a really, really amazing guy, as a lot of you will know. In our Discord server, in the chat box, you don't even have to be a member of this channel to know who Vinny was. And look, it's very, very sad. But I think what's important sometimes is in these moments to look at the really happy things that we can to do with this. And so, just talking about Vinny, Vinny was Vinny was a very funny guy. And Vinny was someone that I know a lot of you communicated with in the Discord server in particular. I know that he was someone who you all helped to support massively during this battle that he's had. And, he was one of the bravest guys. Like, this guy would battle after battle after battle, kicked cancer's ass the first time round, and fought so hard to do that unfortunately, when things turned a little sideways the second time around, he was just, by that point, he was so exhausted that even one of the strongest guys I've ever met couldn't quite do it. But I think what I remember most about Vinny is just his commitment to, one, winding me up, which he took with absolute pride to do. I met Vinny at our live show at the Hippodrome in Leicester Square, which we did courtesy of both Lee Judges TV and the Highbury Squad, which, of course, as you can see, Kev Campbell was a big part of as well. And it was an absolute joy when basically, for those that weren't at the live show, it's at this massive kind of casino in Leicester Square. And when we walked into the casino, there was like this room at the back where obviously all of our stuff was meant to be being kept. And somehow some of the guests have been kind of shimmied into this room. And Vinny was one of those guests. And I just remember walking in and just looking up at me and going, bloody hell, you are actually that tall. Because there used to be a running joke that people didn't recognize how tall I was, because obviously you only see like this half of me. And yeah, walking into that room and Vinny seeing me and recognizing that is indeed how tall I am. And a lot of you in the Discord server in particular will know that he was a little bit of a dab hand with Photoshop. So obviously when he posted about meeting for the first time on Twitter, this was his attempt to show that I was not actually as tall as as people made out. He enjoyed Photoshop an incredible amount and loved using it to take the mick out of a lot of us in the Discord server, mostly myself. And yeah, I will miss that massively, and I will miss his presence in the Discord server as well. Not only that, but a lot of the members in that Discord server owe their the fact that they've come onto the channel to Vinny. Vinny would pester people like you've never seen someone pester someone. If you're not in our Discord server, and it's never been a requirement to tune into the channel by any means, but if you're in the Discord server, within it there is a channel which is about the members podcast, which is when we do our preview shows. You can come on and chat, and it's you'd think, we have a fair few subscribers, as you know, and a lot of people listen, and a lot of members, and you'd think there'd be a massive interest all the time for people to come on. But the reality of the situation is that a lot of people are quite shy, and they aren't that comfortable coming onto camera and going and doing a show and talking about Arsenal. But Vinny would kind of bring out a confidence in a lot of other people, and he would just pester and pester and pester someone until they came on the show. And a lot of people owe their now several appearances that have come on and done multiple shows because of Vinny, that have now gone on and done other channels. Some have even created their own channels because of Vinny just encouraging them to come onto the channel. So yeah, he also was a much better looking laugher than me, as you can see from this image. Yeah, he looks a lot better than I do. And yes, I did wear this shirt today because I knew that it was one of his favorites. As you can see on the screen there, it was an absolute honor to know Vinny, and I wish his family and close friends all the strength in the world during this, what I'm sure is a very, very tough time. I've not had a look at the chat box. I can now see a lot of you are putting some very, very kind comments and nice things in the chat box. This is a very, very difficult moment, but what I want to finish with when talking about Vinny is the amazing charity work that he did. Now, TGT was a big part, I know, of Vinny's life towards the end, and I think he used a lot of TGT as a bit of an escapism from the hell he was obviously going through. And I know a lot of people supported him and supported a lot of his causes. And in the description in today's show, you can find a link to Vinny's Just Giving page that he set up with a lot of friends. And we, along with a lot of his friends and family, helped raise over £10,000 for Macmillan Cancer Support. And as far as I'm aware, because I did check this page late last night, that it is still open, and I think you can still donate. So if at whatever reason at the time you didn't get a chance or you couldn't afford it then, just any amount of help goes on to continue what he wanted to do, which was to absolutely just try and kick cancer's ass. And if he couldn't do it, which I'll tell you, if he couldn't do it, you know, my thoughts are with everyone else who's fighting with it, because he was one of the toughest guys out there trying to fight this thing. But any amount of help that you can give to that, I'm sure Vinny would have massively, massively appreciated it. I also wanted to share with you one of the last conversations I had with Vinny. Vinny and me did chat off the record a lot, you know, on the Discord server. I was always kind of trying to catch up with him and seeing how he was doing and seeing how his family was. And you know, one of the funniest things he sent me was actually in his last message to me, which was saying, he said, if you can do more for Gooners versus Cancer through the channel, then please do. And of course, we'll be doing a live show in North London a little bit later on, a little early on in September, on the 2nd of September. We're doing a live show to help Gooners versus Cancer. So if you're in the North London area, I'll make sure to tweet out some information about how you can come. It's £5 a ticket. You know, you donate towards Gooners versus Cancer, and I'm sure Vinny would really appreciate it. He said, you could immortalize me with an emoji. And, you know, the members of the channel will know that we've had a lot of fun with different types of emojis on the channel for members to use. And so I am going to get to work straight away on trying to immortalize Vinny by his request in an emoji for our members to use in the chat box. It may become one of the most popular emojis that we have in the chat box. But I thought that was great. You know, I'm going to have to go now because I'm starting to struggle. So thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in and listening. Really appreciate your time. As always, you don't worry about liking and subscribing today. It's not important. You just if you can donate anything, go donate. Link in the description, as always. Vinny, thank you so much for helping support the channel. Thank you so much for everything that you did for me, and thank you for just being a great person as well. See you soon, everyone. And as always, up the Vinny.